You're too old to travel alone. That's what my children told me when I announced my plans to see the world at 76. Maybe you've heard similar words from well-meaning family. Maybe you've even told yourself the same thing. But what if I told you that the most wonderful year of my life happened after I turned 76, when I finally gathered the courage to travel on my own? I know what you're thinking. Solo travel in your 70s sounds risky, maybe even foolish. What about your health? What about safety? What if something goes wrong? These were the same questions that kept me from pursuing my dreams for years. But once I took that first step, I discovered that age isn't the barrier we think it is. It's fear. In this video, I'll share the 5 most important lessons I learned during my year of solo travel as a 76-year-old. By the end, you'll understand why it's never too late to have the adventures you've always dreamed of, and more importantly, how to make them happen safely and comfortably. Stay with me, because what I'm about to share might just give you the courage to take that trip you've been putting off for far too long. Now, let's get started. Lesson 1. Your body is stronger than you think. When I told my doctor about my travel plans, I expected a long list of warnings. Instead, he smiled and said, "Margaret, moderate activity is exactly what your body needs." I wasn't an athlete. I had arthritis in both knees and took medication for high blood pressure, but I could walk for 20 minutes without stopping, and that was enough to start. Take Henry, a 79-year-old I met in Portugal. He used a cane and moved slowly, but he managed to see every castle, cathedral, and coastal view he wanted to. "I just planned for more time," he told me, "and I've learned to sit and truly see what's around me instead of rushing past." Before my trip, I was afraid my body would fail me. But something surprising happened instead. I got stronger. Each day of walking through new cities built my endurance. I started taking fewer breaks. My joints hurt less. By month 3, I was climbing gentle hills without stopping. Your body responds to what you ask of it. If you've been sitting at home for years, of course travel seems impossible. But when you start with small challenges and build slowly, your strength returns in ways that might surprise you. The key is knowing your true limits, not the imagined ones. Can you walk for 15 minutes? Can you climb a few stairs with a railing? Can you sit comfortably on a bus or train? If yes, you can travel. The rest is just careful planning. Lesson 2. Planning makes all the difference. The secret to successful travel in your 70s isn't youth or perfect health. It's thoughtful planning. Before my trip, I made a list of my non-negotiables. A private bathroom, no more than 1 flight of stairs without an elevator, and accommodations within a half-mile of public transportation. This wasn't limiting. It was liberating. By knowing what I needed, I could plan with confidence. I met Eleanor, 82, in Amsterdam. She traveled with a folder containing her medication list, doctor's phone number, and travel insurance details. "I've never needed these papers," she told me, "but having them gives me peace of mind." I learned to schedule rest days between travel days. I discovered the joy of slow mornings. I found that guided tours, though sometimes a bit more expensive, eliminated the stress of navigation and provided a social connection. Good planning means researching accessibility before you go. It means choosing accommodations carefully. It means understanding the local transportation. But most importantly, it means being honest about your needs without shame or embarrassment. I chose cities with good medical care. I stayed in places with 24-hour reception desks. I kept my daily activities flexible enough to accommodate how I felt each morning. These simple preparations weren't limitations. They were the foundation that made everything else possible. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Now let's move forward. Lesson 3. Solo doesn't mean alone. Before my trip, loneliness was my biggest fear. I'd been widowed for 8 years, and though I lived independently, the thought of being in strange places without a familiar face terrified me. What I discovered instead was a whole world of fellow travelers, many of them seniors like me, eager for connection. There was Mary, 74, from Canada, who I met on a walking tour in Prague. We ended up sharing meals for 3 days, exchanging life stories and travel tips. There was Robert, 81, who joined me for a concert in Vienna after we struck up a conversation at a cafe. I stayed in small family-run hotels where the owners often joined guests for breakfast. I took cooking classes where I laughed with strangers as we fumbled through unfamiliar recipes. I learned to sit at restaurant bars instead of tables, which almost always led to conversations. The beautiful truth is that silver hair is a conversation starter. People respect age in ways that surprised me. Fellow travelers would offer assistance without being asked. Locals would stop to make sure I knew where I was going. Young people would smile and ask about my travels. I was never truly alone unless I wanted to be. And those moments of chosen solitude, watching the sunset over the Mediterranean, journaling in a quiet cafe, enjoying the peace of an art museum, became precious gifts to myself. The secret is simple. Smile, be open to conversation, and don't be afraid to join organized activities. The world is much friendlier than we fear. Lesson 4. Age brings unexpected advantages. What no one tells you about traveling in your 70s is that it comes with surprising benefits that younger travelers don't enjoy. In many cultures, age commands respect. In Japan, people would bow more deeply to me than to younger tourists. In Turkey, shop owners invited me for tea and shared family photos. In Italy, I was ushered to the front of several lines without asking. Being older means you're rarely seen as a threat or competition. People open up, share stories, and offer kindness in ways they might not with younger travelers. I met James, 77, who told me how a family in Greece invited him to their Sunday lunch after meeting him at a local church. It would never have happened when I was younger, he said. There's something about white hair that says trustworthy in many cultures. There's also the advantage of perspective. When a train was delayed in Germany, younger travelers paced and complained. I found a comfortable seat, pulled out my book, and enjoyed the unexpected break. Decades of life teach you that most problems are temporary. Another benefit? Discounts. Many museums, transportation systems, and attractions offer significant senior discounts. My entry to the Louvre in Paris was half price. My train passes throughout Europe cost 30% less than standard adult fares. And perhaps most importantly, we travel with fewer expectations and greater appreciation. Each experience feels like a gift rather than an entitlement. This mindset transforms even simple moments into memories to treasure. Lesson 5. The greatest risk is regret. On my last evening in Barcelona, I sat on the beach watching the sunset over the Mediterranean. A young couple nearby asked if I would take their photo. After I did, they curiously asked about my travels. "Aren't you afraid to travel alone at your age?" the young woman asked. I smiled and told her the truth. I'm much more afraid of reaching the end of my life with regrets about the things I didn't do. The greatest lesson from my year of travel wasn't about destinations or logistics. It was about the cost of postponed dreams. For years, I had put off these adventures, waiting for the right time that never seemed to come. I met William, 83, in a cafe in Lisbon. He told me with tears in his eyes about the trips he and his wife had planned for their retirement. Then she got sick, he said, and now I'm here alone wishing we hadn't waited. His story is far too common. We save our dreams for a perfect future that isn't guaranteed. We let fear make our world smaller when age should be expanding it. Yes, there are risks in travel at any age. I had moments of confusion in train stations. I faced language barriers. I even had a minor fall in Rome, though my only injury was to my pride. But these small challenges pale in comparison to the risk of a life half lived, a life where fear has the final word. I'm not suggesting recklessness. I'm advocating for courage. The quiet, determined courage to say that your dreams still matter, that age has made them more precious, not less possible. Final thoughts. Looking at my travel photos now, I realize the journey changed me, not just my scenery. I returned more confident, patient, and grateful, seeing my capabilities instead of my limitations. Ask yourself, what adventure have you been postponing? What dream have you set aside because of your age? What if you decided the waiting is over? Your adventure doesn't need to be worldwide travel. It could be a weekend trip, a cooking class, or visiting a distant friend. The size doesn't matter. What matters is refusing to let age shrink your world when it could be expanding. Thank you for joining me today. Please comment below with one dream you've been postponing and one small step toward it. Your thoughts inspire us. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating content that informs and inspires. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next time.